Good evening and welcome to the City of Woodstock's public meeting. Tonight's meeting is an open public meeting as required by the Planning Act. This meeting will be live streamed to the city's YouTube channel, and a recording of the meeting will also be posted on the city's website following the meeting. An agenda can be found on the agendas, meetings, and minutes page on the city's website. This meeting is for information and discussion purposes only, and no decisions will be made tonight. Council will make a decision on these three matters. There's three matters on the agenda tonight at the regular council meeting to be held on Thursday. If you wish to address the council at that meeting, you must submit a delegation form to the city clerk no later than 12 noon tomorrow, that being Tuesday. A delegation form is available on the city website. If an application is denied, only the applicant or the minister can file an appeal to the Ontario Land Tribunal within 20 days of issuance of the notice of council decision. Only specified persons, public bodies, registered owners of land to which the plan may be applied, the requester to amend the plan, and the minister may apply to appeal the decision to the city of Woodstock to the Ontario Land Tribunal within 20 days of issuance of the notice of council's decision. Excluding the minister, any party wishing to make an appeal must make written oral submissions to the council at a public meeting. Please note that third parties, anyone who is not a specified person or public body, do not have the right to appeal a decision of an official plan amendment to the Ontario Land Tribunal. Please keep your comments to planning matters only and avoid repeating comments that have already been expressed. If you have not provided oral or written comments but wish to receive formal notice of the council's decision on the matter, please contact the clerk's department. The notice will provide further information on appealing the decision. The planner will be asked to present the planning report for each application. The applicant will then be provided an opportunity to also make their comments, followed by those wishing to speak in favor of the application, and then followed by those wishing to speak in opposition to the application. And obviously, if you simply have a question on the application, you can ask them as well. Prior to proceeding with the first application, does anyone here want to declare a pecuniary interest on items that are on tonight's agenda from councilors? Councilor Lauder, go ahead.
Thank you. I, Councillor Lauder, declare the following potential pecuniary interest. Agenda item number 2A, ZN 8-25-05, application for zone change 634524 Ontario Inc., 607 Canterbury. The 35 Kent Street and 675 Canterbury Street apartments located in this block are owned by Woodstock nonprofit, for which I am a board member.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right, so seeing none, let's get to the agenda then. As I mentioned before, there are three items on the agenda tonight. We'll start with ZN 8-25-05. That's the application for zone change for 634524 Ontario Inc. With the municipal address of 607 Canterbury Street. And Justin Miller is here from the County of Oxford Planning Office. The floor is yours, Mr. Miller.
Good evening, council staff, members of the public. Application for zone change ZN 8-25-05 in the name of 634524 Ontario Inc. If this looks familiar, it was recently here for support of the Severance to Land Division Committee, which was heard and approved, I think last week. The subject land is described as Lot 4, Part Lot 5, Block M, Plan 255, and are municipally known as 607 Canterbury Street. The purpose of the application is to rezone the subject lands from residential zone 2, R2, to special residential zone 3, R366, to permit a 3-unit townhouse with reduced interior side yard widths. The applicant has requested a minimum lot frontage of 7.8 meters for the end units, a minimum side yard width of 1.5 meters for the western unit, and a minimum side yard width of 1.2 meters for the eastern unit. The zone change application is related to applications for consent B 2524-8 and B 2525-8 to create two lots to create two new lots to create three separately conveyable lots for one unit on each lot for a unit townhouse that is to be constructed. An easement has also been conditionally approved on the westerly lot to provide access to the middle unit through the proposed 1.5 meter side yard. It's the opinion of staff that the application is consistent with the PPS as the proposed development promotes intensification and provides a mix of housing types to accommodate the current and future residents of the regional market area. The development is also considered to be an efficient use of lands, municipal services, and infrastructure within the designated settlement area. With respect to the relevant official plan policies for medium density residential areas, staff are of the opinion that the proposal can be characterized as appropriate street-oriented infill development and intensification that is supported by the official plan. This area of the city is characterized by a variety of lot sizes and built forms, including infill developments, townhouses, single attached dwellings, and apartment dwellings. And the proposed lots to be severed and the proposed lot to be retained will not be out of character or inconsistent with the surrounding area. Staff are of the opinion that the proposed lot configurations are reasonable and will provide for an adequate building envelope for townhouse dwelling units and the lots to be severed and retained. The applicant has requested a minimum frontage of 7.8 meters for each end unit, where the R3 zone requires a minimum frontage of 8 meters. Minimum frontage requirements are established to ensure that sufficient space is provided for a building envelope for the proposed development. In this case, the applicant has provided a sketch showing the proposed townhouse development on the subject lands with the requested frontage. Further, the reduction is a minor departure from the city's own provisions, and similar developments have been previously supported at this dimension within the city. The applicant has also requested a minimum interior side yard width of 1.5 meters for the westerly unit and 1.2 meters for the easterly unit. Minimum interior side yard widths are intended to ensure that sufficient space is provided for access and normal maintenance of the rear yard. 3-meter side yards are typically intended to provide off-street parking opportunities where dwellings do not have garages or carports. The applicant intends to provide garages for the units. Where dwellings have an attached garage or carports, the minimum side yard width for single attached dwellings and semi-detached dwellings is 1.2 meters. Further, the 1.5 meter interior side yard meets the city's standards for access easements and has been conditionally approved with the related severance applications. Planning staff are satisfied that the proposal is consistent with the policies of the provincial planning statement and meets the general intent and purpose of the official plan. As such, staff are of the opinion that the application can be given favorable consideration, and staff recommend approval of the application.
Any questions from members of council for Mr. Miller from Oxford Planning? I guess I do have one question. The yellow line, I know it's not on the plate that's shown on the screen there, but that depicts the easements, yeah. So assuming that the westerly unit is unit number one, just for the sake of this question, they can fence their backyard, but they just can't fence the yellow easement part. In other words, if somebody's got a dog and they want to fence just their portion of the backyard, they can certainly do that, but the rest of it can't be fenced because they have to give access for their neighbor to, say, cut their grass.
So often people provide 1.5 meters is the sort of the city standard for this access, and it's usually so people can put a lawnmower through there to be able to cut their backyard. So you typically can't put anything in that space. So often people request more than the minimum 1.5 so that they can put like an air conditioner or something in that side yard that doesn't obstruct the 1.5 meters. But the 1.5 meters is the base limit to provide access for people to be able to cut the grass. So yes, you couldn't fence, or at least if, I mean, the easement can be spelled out however the lawyer writes it to the satisfaction of the city, but you have to give access to that middle unit through that space, whether it's fenced and they still have access somehow, then there's some flexibility.
I guess the follow-up question there, would there be enough space to put an air conditioner attached to the side of the house? Or would the air conditioner have to go in the backyard then?
Likely in this case, an air conditioner would have to be located in the backyard, which would be the same case for the center unit, right? Because it doesn't have a side yard at all.
Any other comments or concerns or questions for Mr. Miller from council? Well, no, just we're still sticking with council, and then you can have comments or questions when we get past the developer as well. So next up would be the developer, if he wants to come forward and either follow up or explain anything further that he'd like to, the applicant or developer in this case. If you can just come to the podium and say your name and address, Mr. Losi.
Chairman, I'm Ray Losi. 634524 is my building company. And I'm happy with everything that we've got to date. So I don't know if there's any.
Yeah, any questions from council for Mr. Losi then? Seeing none, that's fine. Thanks.
Thank you.
Now, is there anybody who, for just this proposal, 607 Canterbury Street, that would like to speak against the proposal or plan? Even if it's just really a question of clarification that you might want to throw out. Anybody else want to speak in favor of 607 Canterbury? Okay, thank you. And as we just said, there will be no decisions made here tonight. It will appear, of course, on the agenda. In fact, it's already posted online for the agenda for Thursday night's council meeting at 7 p.m. And that's when council will make a decision on all three of these proposals that are on tonight's planning agenda. Thanks a lot. The second item on the agenda tonight is ZN 8-25-07, application for zone change. And the name attached to it is Gillette, and the address is 264 Russell Street. If Mr. Miller can explain the application.
Good evening. Coincidentally, very similar application for zone change ZN 8-25-07. The name of Stephen Gillette. The subject lands are described as part lot 40, plan 77, and are municipally known as 264 Russell Street. The purpose of the application is to rezone the subject lands from residential zone 1 to special residential zone 3, R367, to permit a 3-unit townhouse with reduced interior side yard widths. The applicant has requested a minimum lot frontage of 6.8 meters for the northern unit and a minimum frontage of 7.7 meters for the southern unit, where a minimum of 8 meters is required in the zoning bylaw. The applicant is also requesting a minimum side yard width of 1.2 meters for the northern unit and a minimum side yard width of 2.2 meters for the southern unit, where a minimum of 3 meters is required in the zoning bylaw. At the time of writing this report, 3 letters were provided by 2 different neighbors expressing concerns over the proposed development. The letters raised concerns related to lot sizes, setbacks, loss of privacy, safety, parking, winter road maintenance, road neighborhood character, and drainage and precedent. Those letters are attached as plates in the report for further reference. Planning staff are satisfied that the proposal maintains the intended purpose of the official plan, as the development is within the low density designation, shall generally consist of low rise, low density housing forms, including single attached, semi-detached, duplex, converted dwellings, and street fronting townhouses, quadruplexes, and low density cluster development and low rise apartments. Staff are satisfied that the proposed development, which consists of a 3-unit townhouse, is consistent with the policy direction for low density housing types. With respect to the relevant official plan policies for low density residential areas, staff are of the opinion that the proposal can be characterized as appropriate street oriented infill development and intensification that is supported by the official plan. This area of the city is characterized by a variety of lot sizes and built forms, including townhouses, single attached dwellings, and semi-detached dwellings. And the proposed lots to be severed will not be out of character or inconsistent with the surrounding area. Staff are of the opinion that the proposed lot configurations are reasonable and will provide for an adequate building envelope for townhouse dwelling units on the lots to be severed and retained. The applicant has requested a minimum lot frontage of 6.8 meters for the northern unit and 7.7 meters for the southern unit, where the R3 zone requires a minimum frontage of 8 meters. Minimum lot frontage requirements are established to ensure that sufficient space is provided for a building envelope for the proposed development. In this case, the applicant has provided a sketch showing the proposed development on the subject lands with the requested frontage. Further, the reduction is a minor departure from the zone's provisions and is similar to developments previously supported by the city without issue. The applicant has also requested a minimum interior side yard width of 1.2 meters for the northern unit and 2.2 meters for the southern unit. Minimum interior side yard widths are intended to ensure that sufficient space is provided for access and normal maintenance of the rear yard. 3-meter side yards are typically intended to provide off-street parking opportunities where dwellings do not have garages or carports, and the applicant has shown garages on the submitted sketch of the units. For council's information, where dwelling units have attached garages or carports, the minimum interior side yard width for single attached dwellings and semi-detached dwellings is 1.2 meters. Further, the 2.2 meter side yard on the southern units is intended to accommodate an easement for maintenance of the rear yard of the center unit. It is expected that the owner will apply to sever the units and the easements will be required for access at that time. Planning staff are satisfied that the proposal is consistent with the policies of the provincial planning statement, meets the general intent and purpose of the official plan. As such, staff are of the opinion that the application be given favorable consideration, and as such, staff recommend approval of the application.
It's just as a point of clarification, the one we just had at 607 Canterbury, the house, the residence that was there has been removed. In this case, the house is actually technically still there, still in existence.
That's correct.
Any questions for Mr. Miller from members of council? Councilor Lauder?
Through the chair to Mr. Miller. If these units were to be built, are they also allowed ARUs in the future?
Through the chair, provided they meet the city's ARU provisions, ARUs are permitted within street fronting townhouses, so theoretically, although it likely wouldn't work out that way, each unit could have 2 based on the design. Just based on the amount of parking that looks like it's shown, likely each unit could have a maximum of 1 ARU.
And one more question. So in the letter from one of the people, they're saying the garage in question is already on the property line. Is that garage still there? It's supposed, and it'll be coming down?
So through the chair, I believe the garage that they're talking about is the garage on the property to the north. So that garage is likely on the property line, but all the structures that are on the property to be removed. As a condition of consent, should they apply for consent, if something's still standing, we would require it to be removed.
Thank you.
Any further questions?
Sorry, can I just clarify that? Because
Go
I have
ahead.
some what's. So not the property, not the garage on the property to the north, the garage that's on the existing property, on the property that's subject to the development. There's no garage? There you go.
Be removed? It has to
Yes.
be removed?
On the property that's part of this subject development,
Yeah.
yes.
Thank you.
Anybody here to speak on behalf of the applicant or the applicant themselves? Come forward and state your name and your address.
I'm Mark Burke, and I don't want to give my address because there's so many people here that are not happy about this. No, I'm just kidding. 28 Wellington Street North, Woodstock, Ontario, N4S6P3. So I'm here to represent the builder and Truebuilt Construction and the Gillette family, Mr. and Mrs. Gillette. And I made a few notes. First of all, I do want to acknowledge everyone that's here that, obviously it's a wonderful, tight-knit community, and they care about what's happening and they're invested. And I think that's wonderful. And you have an opportunity to voice your concerns. I think that's great. It's funny, to put it in perspective with the housing crisis, sometimes these things seem so big that's like, well, there's this crisis and then there's another crisis and then how do we solve all these crises? And in this case, it got really personal for me a few months ago because my son came to me and he said, Dad, I'm moving out west because I'm an electrician. I have a family. I've got 4 boys, and I'm never going to be able to afford a home in my hometown. And so it's real. Like, this is a real thing, and it affects people locally in a profound way. So a couple things. Good news is that house prices are down. So in terms of that, let's continue on that housing crisis thing. House prices are down, but they're still not down far enough. And the bad thing for builders, and this is the bad news, is that costs are higher. So we never lost that whole inflation thing. The rate of inflation may go down, but the inflation never went away. So in a sense, we still have costs that are well beyond what we need to keep building houses cheaper and cheaper. So for us to put 3 homes in this, and I think that's maybe the question that I want to get to is, why do we have to do 3? Why can't we do 1? Why can't we do 2? And it's because 2 and 1 new home on this lot is not viable based on today's cost structure and sale prices in Woodstock. It's a fair question. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but suffice it to say that this project doesn't move forward with less than 3 units. It's just not possible. On the good news front, this is a great project. Those properties are 50 meters deep. Like a typical new lot, a new subdivision now is 28, 30 meters. Those are 50 meters deep, so we can really take advantage of that land. It has a beautiful grade away from the road, so that's great for all the neighbors and all these new homes as well. We were able to set back the homes 12 meters to allow 2 parking spots per unit plus the garage, so 3 spots total. So addressing a core concern for most people in terms of off-street parking. It's close to 2 schools. The most likely people to buy these homes will be people that have children that are either going to Southside or St. Pat's or will be going to Southside and St. Pat's. So it's really exciting from a positive side to say that we're going to be creating 3 homes that are really suitable for local families to enjoy, Southside Pool, Southside Park, the new splash pad. There's just so much there for families, and the proximity to school that's just fantastic. So overall, it's hard. Change is hard. There's a lot of land here that's really not being used optimally, in a sense, from a planning perspective. So adding 3 homes for 3 new families is a meaningful thing for us to do, and I do understand that comes with some growing pains. And then any questions?
Any questions from members of council? Councillor Lauder, go ahead.
Thank you, through the chair to the speaker. So do they plan to put ARUs in here also?
So the quick and easy answer is no. The plan for that home could have that, but you'd have to have a side door entrance. Otherwise, there's no access to the basement except through the main front door. So it's really, they're not suitable plans in this format for ARUs. Plus the parking would be really awkward, right? You wouldn't have enough parking for an additional unit. So the easy answer is no. Plus, and again, back to the project being viable, we're making the units as cost effective as possible. And the side entrance is not a cost effective thing to do.
Thank you.
Anyone else from council? I'm guessing there's gonna be more questions of you, Mr. Burke, so maybe just
I'll stick around.
just step aside a little bit here,
Right.
because at this point in time, we'll have anybody to come forward that would like to speak in favor of the planned project at 264 Russell Street. Anyone from the neighborhood or anybody else in general want to speak in favor of it? All right, now show of hands, anybody who would speak against it, we'll have to come up to the podium one at a time. Again, state your name and address. You can come up as a couple or come up individually if you want to. We'll start with this lady in the white. Your name and your address, yeah.
Good evening, members of council. I'm Amanda Cowell, and I'm the homeowner of 268 Russell Street for almost 28 years. It's been a quiet street where I raised my family in the neighborhood that offers the space and the privacy for all of our homeowners. Over the years, the street has become busier, and I believe partly due to the Southside School expansion. And this has created more children walking to and from school, as well as more vehicles parked along the street. Building a triplex only adds to the busyness and creates safety concerns with 2 additional driveways, causing visibility issues with all 3 driveways being positioned on the current front lawn of 264 Russell Street. Not to mention possible additional vehicles on the street. I did hear Mark's point about the housing shortage. And currently, Woodstock has 272 listings, 2 of which are around the corner on Spencer Street. And that number does not include the development on the outskirts of the city. So I'm not sure where the shortage is, and I am curious as to the marketing price that these units would be going for. I'd also like to know where the need is for an oversized, modern design triplex on a street with old character. The residents of Russell Street have invested in our homes. And as Mark mentioned, the properties in the new subdivisions and that are much smaller than what we have on Russell Street. We did not purchase a home in a new subdivision with small space and no privacy. We purchased our home on Russell Street where the neighborhood offers space and privacy. Don't take that away from us for profit. Woodstock is known as the friendly city. Friendly for who? The current residents in neighborhoods where the city allows developers to do as they please for profit, or to new residents like at 266 Russell Street, who purchased a home and within a year learned that an oversized triplex plans to be built right next door. Welcome to our friendly city. I am asking you to deny the request for the change in the zoning at 264 Russell Street from R1 to R3. Thank you for your time.
Just as a follow-up to that, I will ask Mr. Miller a question about going to the provincial planning statement and the fact that this plan for Russell Street, whether or not it fits into what the province of Ontario currently permits on that size of property.
So the provincial planning statement doesn't really get into the weeds of lot sizes and things like that. It sort of leaves that up to official plans to look at, and the official plan for low density areas does permit street facing townhouses, it permits apartments, it permits single attached, semi-detached duplexes, it permits all of those development types. It's the intent of the official plan that low density residential areas will have a mixing of those uses. So not all areas might be suitable to that, but as far as things like the Ontario Land Tribunal and the provincial government's house building acts, this is something that they're looking for in those acts. It's not something that's would be looked favorably upon if it wasn't approved. Like it wouldn't stand a chance at the OLT is what I'm trying to say.
Anybody else want to speak on this matter? Lady next to the lady in the white.
Good evening. My name is Tracy Galen, and I live at 260 Russell Street, directly beside the property at 264 Russell Street. I'm here to strongly object to the proposed change from R1 to R3 zoning, changing the current minimum 3-meter zoning by law to 1.2 and the construction of a triplex on that lot. First and foremost, this is not simply about change, it's about the irreversible impacts that change will have on our home, our safety, and our quality of life. My husband purchased this home over 25 years ago because of its quiet, mature neighborhood. We have worked hard to maintain our property and enjoy the privacy, sunlight, and open space that has defined our home for decades. This proposal threatens all of that. Drainage structural concerns. The lot beside us has drainage patterns that, if altered, could easily wash out the soil around our above-ground pool. The proximity of new construction so close to our foundation also raises the real risk of structural damage, foundation shifting, or even possible collapse is not out of the question when heavy equipment is operating just a few feet away. Loss of sunlight and privacy. The south side of our home currently enjoys full open views, natural sunlight in all 3 bedrooms. With the triplex next door, that sunlight will disappear entirely, leaving our bedrooms in shade all day. For over 25 years, we have had complete privacy that will vanish overnight, replaced by windows looking directly into our home and yard. This development would drastically change the living conditions inside our home. With the triplex blocking that side, those rooms would lose their sunlight entirely. That's not a minor inconvenience. It's a significant and permanent change to our quality of life. Fire and safety. Fire access is a serious problem here. The proposed structure would be just under 4 feet from our home. And with overhanging eaves, the gap between buildings would shrink to as little as 3 feet, potentially touching our garage. This is not just unsafe, it's dangerous for both properties and their occupants. And I will add that our house is made of cedar shake. It is not brick or it's not aluminum, so it's wood. Parking and traffic. Street parking on Russell Street is already at a breaking point. During the school year, parents line the street twice a day, dropping off and picking up children. Adding a triplex 3 times the number of vehicles will worsen congestion and create unsafe conditions for the children and residents. Noise impact. I have worked from home for the past 13 years, and my husband works nights and sleeps during the day. The noise from triplex construction and increased occupancy will greatly disrupt our lives. Neighborhood character and property values. The majority of our neighborhood is zoned R1 for a reason, to preserve the low-density, quiet character that makes it so desirable. If approved, it will negatively impact property values and set a dangerous precedent for further high-density development in our area. The proposed plan ignores the established layout of our block. Both garages on either side of 264 sit at the very back of the property line, while the existing home is at the front. The triplex would disrupt this establishment pattern, reducing sightlines and cramping the streetscape. The request to reduce the side yard setback from the current zoning requirement of 3 meters to only 1.2 meters is unreasonable and unsafe. These bylaws exist for a reason, to protect the space, safety, and character of our neighborhoods. Council should uphold the existing R1 zoning and reject any request to rezone to R3, as the change appears to be motivated by profit rather than any benefit to the community. Request to council. In conclusion, we ask council to adhere to the existing zoning bylaws and not approve any variance that would allow this triplex to proceed. There is no justifiable reason to change the R1 status to R3 or to change the current 3-meter side yard zoning bylaw to 1.2, and every reason to protect the integrity, safety, and character of our neighborhood. Zoning decisions should not be made in a manner that improve one lot at the expense of the rest of the neighborhood. The whole community needs to be considered. Thank you for your time in considering the voices of the residents who have called Russell Street home for decades. Please protect our homes, our privacy, and our quality of life. Thank you.
There is a rule against clapping, by the way, but we'll let that one go by. Is there anybody else anybody from council have any questions for this, neighborhood member? Yeah, go ahead, Councilor Martin.
Thank you. I guess my question wasn't for the speaker, but I'm not seeing anything in the application. Obviously, the application is circulated to every department in the city. Did the fire department didn't weigh in on concerns?
So, through the chair, no, the fire department didn't provide us any comments. Typically, the building department looks at, there's fire elements of the building code, things like that. The setbacks are the same as they would be, the current zone, the R1 zone proves 1.2 meter side yard setback. So theoretically, someone could tear down that house and build, they haven't requested additional height. So the same height building with a 1.2 meter setback as a single family dwelling.
Any other questions? Anybody else would like to speak against this plan? Then please come forward. Well, come, no, come up to the microphone and give us your name and your address.
Think my voice is loud enough. I'll tell you right now, I am regular or reserve forces, so I've learned to use my voice.
It does have to be picked up though for the recording, because some people might want to watch it on
Oh,
YouTube
okay.
later, and if it doesn't get picked up.
My name's
then-
Elizabeth Clifford. I own the property at 357 Spencer Street. And my big concern with this property was the 1.2 meter side. That's not safe for a fire. And we lose too many places to fire because they aren't maintained right or whatever. But we have to have safe access for the firemen in order to fight a fire or something of that sort. And that was my concern that I was going to speak on, but I felt this young lady had covered it fairly well. Thank you for at least listening to an old lady like me.
Anybody have any questions for her? Is there anybody else that would like to come forward and speak against the proposal?
Hi, counselors. My name's Hank Garris. I live at 338 Spencer Street, which is the very top. See the top one here? Cameras. Okay, I'll keep this map. That's totally that flat. Right here, this is my property here. I've lived there for over 60 years. I'm second generation. This neighbor. I know a lot of the things has been going on and all the changes in the new streetscape that we've had on Russell Street and Spencer. I've received that letter like everybody else for the zone change, and which really struck me is the builder, True Built. First thing he puts on there is the applicant has further requested a reduction of lot frontage and interior side. Three things already on this application that are against violations of the bylaw. I don't understand. 1.2 meters. If you look at the first one, 1.2 meters on the south or the north side of the property. If you take that and I'm an old school, so 1.2 meters is 3.9 feet. Bylaw calls for 3 meters, which is 9.8. So that's 6 feet difference. So you can drive, I got a pickup truck. I could drive my pickup truck beside a building if it was properly put in zone 1, which now they're trying to put this threeplex in, which 1.2 meters is just not big enough. On the other side, the south side of the property, they want 2.2 meters. Still, again, that's like 2.5 feet difference on the side to the new people that have just bought the property there are going to be very upset about this because they didn't have no idea this was going to come down. So I understand also through council that you guys received the letter Friday. Oh, that's a lot of time. So if they got it Friday, I'm sure the fire department got it Friday. They haven't even looked at that thing. This is Monday. I'm sure somebody at the fire department hasn't even got a chance to open his mail up to see this property. So how can they go ahead and now you're going to have a decision already on Thursday? You're going to vote for this. Boy, you give us a lot of time.
If anybody wanted to make a comment on something like that, whether it be like the Upper Thames River Conservation Authority or the fire department, they would have been asked well in advance to be able to
Well,
make an
why-
opinion on
Why
a
don't we
plan.
get that much in advance? The people that are directly involved in this whole project, if they get that so much in advance,
When did you have noticed that there was gonna be a public meeting here tonight?
last week. And it also said that we have to, after tonight, we have to give that by noon hour tomorrow, we have to decide if we want to speak on council on meeting on Thursday, which is like totally ridiculous. I contacted Craig Wallace because I didn't get this map, which we should have got, I think, along with our letters for this meeting. We should have got that letter. We should have got that exact right there to it, like everybody else did. So I contacted Craig Wallace. Craig Wallace emailed it to me. I emailed it to Tracy. And to give me an update. And he says, I says, well, what's this? What's it gonna be? He says, a triplex. He says, true built. He says, if you want to look at what it's like, Adelaide Street, perfect example. I went to Adelaide Street, looked at that triplex. Holy shit, that's god awful. I can't believe it. They're one street off Dundas Street, which is a commercial zone. I'm sure it's zoned different than what we are in our area, zone 1 residential. But it's terrible. I have my True Built. I know you're representing True Built, but I have a lot of problems with True Built too. At the end, at the end of Spencer, True Built has built properties, not adhering to the bylaws, but doesn't matter. Doesn't seem to. They built 3 properties down at the end of Spencer Street, down by Finkel. 2 on one side and a slot that was subdivided on the north side, which I went to talk to the owners of the property that they got subdivided. And they told me it is not at all what they agreed with the builder True Bill on this property that they subdivided. If I would encourage all council members to go down to Spencer Street, talk to Dave and Denise Thompson, who live that on Spencer Street, and they'll give you an update on True Bill, what happened there. The property across the street, the 2 new houses that are zone 2 now, apparently. I don't know how that came about. They probably got a letter too the day before and nobody showed up. But their frontage on their property, the driveways are more than 50% of their lot size. How can that's not even possible. That's just sticking with the True Bill.
I guess the one question I can ask just Mr. Miller is a follow-up on that, or
True Bill ever had a property in Woodstock that they built that they
well,
don't have?
no,
to
everything
reinstate?
that True Built's been here, whether it be Mr. Burke or
Yeah.
Troy Harrod himself, have come through this room. So
Yeah.
they've certainly been through this
There's
room.
no
for approval.
opposition to it. I guess it just goes through.
Well, the provincial policy statement would certainly approve on its own, like for the tribe. You can't take anything that is suggested as being approved by the county of Oxford and then bring it to the tribunal and say the city of Woodstock says no. And of course, the tribunal will say, well, they'll laugh at the city of Woodstock and it will get approved.
Well, city council is the ones that vote on this.
In theory, they'll
Correct?
laugh at the city of Woodstock.
What's that?
In theory, they laugh at the city of Woodstock for taking stuff to the
It doesn't
tribunal.
really matter what if they laugh at it. If they're doing the right thing, all these city council members that vote, they can turn down this zone 3 bylaw change. Can they not?
Yeah, but then the developer would go to the land tribunal to get approved.
Well, that would go nice, wouldn't it? Yeah, that.
Well, just that you're making assumptions about something city council may or may not do when
Well,
that's incorrect to do that.
I have heard from people that.
Because
this
we
is a
have
done
gone to
deal.
the tribunal on plans,
Well,
so they be,
let's go to the tribunal, because that's
Number
what we
of
need in the
units,
city of
yeah.
Woodstock. Tracy did cover a lot of things that I had on my list of things that I had.
one thing I wanted to clarify, maybe Mr. DeHaan can, is the setbacks on the side yards of buildings, whether they be triplexes, single-family homes, or just regular semi-detached properties, the setbacks from the side property yard, 1.2 meters, approximately 4 feet was the what the regulations state.
Your worship, through the, your worship, our chair. Justin could probably answer better than I can, but for a single family home, the setback from the side yard is 1.4 feet. 1.4 meters usually, yes.
Pardon me?
For an R1 zone, for
No.
a single family home, the side yard setback is 1.2 meters.
And R3 is 3 meters? Well, why is that even happening then? Why are we even here? Because it should be 3 meters. I don't understand that. R1 is 1.4, you said? Meters?
1.2
1.2 meters for R1.
for R1.
Okay. which,
But they wanted to zone it to an R3, which has a
Exactly.
3, and they're asking for a variance to reduce it down to 1.2.
yeah, exactly, like, that
That's
doesn't
their
even make
application.
sense. I know, that's what, the first three things on his application are like violations, like. Now, let's get to the frontage violations. Are these buildings that they're building, these triplex, are they staggered? Why is there a discrepancy between the frontage of 6.8? He wants a variation from 6.8 meters on one and 7.75 meters. It's like, are they staggered? This building?
I believe the width of the units are the same. The staggering would be the side setbacks. The one in the middle would
Yes.
not have would not have any kind of a side yard,
Well,
because it's in the middle.
they're asking here that the northern unit is 6.8 meters. And the southern unit is 7.75 meters. So does that mean like they're staggered, like this? 7.75 meters. Here. Figure right there, 7.75 meters. This is 6.8. Well, two different. Oh, they're staggered, yeah. Are they not? How can that be? Don't understand.
Yeah, go ahead, Mark Burke, if you wanted to explain why there are differences in the width of the lots.
No, the frontage. It's the frontage.
Well, same difference. It's the width of the
Okay, so
lot.
just to give a little context to that. So the buildings themselves are 5.6 meters wide. So all three of those are 5.6 meters. I don't know, all this planning stuff's in metric. I don't know, man. So, sorry, I have to use Google to translate those metric and imperial, but they're all 5.6 meters. And then what we worked with is there's an easement like the other one for the middle unit around the south side. So that's got a little bit more room. The north side, we matched it up with the existing carport because the carport was already right up against the edge of the property. So that was just the logic of, okay, well, let's just keep it as consistent with the existing building. That was just the logic that we picked one side versus the other. It could be inverted, like you could put the easement on the north side versus the south. So, but that explains why the lot sizes are different, because the middle lot's always going to be just the 5.6 meters of the house. And then there's a little bit of an adjustment just based on the lot size and which side we put the easement on. Does that help?
Are you the real estate for Truebill?
Yeah, yeah.
Mostly?
Okay, and just one more thing on the Spencer Street. I'm familiar with that. I actually hired and paid the paving company to do the driveways on Spencer Street. So I know that they're no more than 50% of the front yard, because that's the rule. So I did that, it's just a funny aside.
Usually it sure hell don't look like it. Maybe I should go down and measure it. Maybe the city bylaw officer should go and check that out. Maybe, might be an idea. For those who will probably won't go down to see Dave and Denise about Truebill, I got a few things that I've heard just from him because I was asking him about Truebill. I know you're gonna tell me that this is nothing to do with that, right?
It doesn't have nothing to do with it. It's also hearsay, so.
Oh, okay. I want you, city council members, to call Dave and Denise Thompson on Spencer Street. I don't have their phone number. I'm sure they're in the phone book if anybody has a phone book anymore. I still do. I still have a landline. I'm old school. I live in the top corner there, looking down on Russell Street, and it's pretty serene. I see everybody's houses are pretty set back. Everybody has very nice yards and whatnot. In this proposed threeplex, it's gonna be a parking lot sitting there. There's 2 parking spots on the driveways for each of those. So that's 6 vehicles. Garages nowadays are obsolete. Nobody uses garage. They're full of shit. They fill them up full of garbage and whatever. Has anybody here used your garage? Probably not.
Get some appropriate language in this room.
I was just gonna mention that, yes, thanks, Councilor Martin.
I'm a zone 1 on the corner. Beside me is a zone 1 with a B and B, which I've talked to Connie about. And we have the same views on, because the city of Woodstock does not have any regulations on Airbnbs. The next house to them is zone 1, and the proposed lot next to that, which is zone 1, is to zone 3. But like I say, it's gonna be a complete parking lot once.
You are aware of the fact that everyone who's got an R1 house could have an additional residential unit.
I
unit
agree,
apartment
I
in the
understand
basement?
that. Airbnb is
And
not
that
Airbnb.
brings additional cars, so it might not just be this specific property that's gonna have that scenario. It could be up and down your entire street in 5 or 6
I
years.
agree, I agree. B&Bs are different, are they not? ARU are the same as a B&B? No.
No, I'm just
Exactly.
saying additional residential units or basement apartments
I know that.
are fully legal.
I downloaded that thing from the Ontario government about ARUs, and like, it's like 60 pages long. It was like garble. I'm just going through it because I'm trying not to repeat what Tracy said. But pretty well, all I have to say now is, like, city council members have a right to the responsibility to represent the concerns of the city and our neighborhood. And they can stop, they can vote this down, and yeah, it can go to tribunal and they can do that, and hey, at least they know they did the right thing. So I think we should save our neighborhood by voting against this zone change and destroying the neighborhood. Keep zone 1 residential and from becoming extinct, which is becoming in the city of Woodstock, because there's plopping these things every chance they get. A builder comes in and sees it because of the house is a little older, which the house is still sitting on that property. It was up for sale for a while. And then, of course, a builder comes in and eyes wide open in the seller, and he sells it to them. It was on the market for a little bit. It wasn't on the market? Not even listed on the market. Okay, now that's a good tidbit. So, lost my train of thought here. Just give me a second. I've lost it, sorry.
Well, you can sit down, and maybe
Yeah.
come back up if you have a good point you'd like to make, Mr. Garris. Go ahead, Councilor Martin.
Sorry, I just had a question, and it's not for you specifically, but for everyone that has spoken. We've talked a little bit about the Ontario Land Tribunal, that a builder can appeal a decision made by city council. Do you have an idea of what that costs for the city to attend a land tribunal and defend its position?
I'm missing a day's work to be here tonight. You know how much that cost me? I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
I don't know why you're bringing something like that up.
We pay taxes.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Wait, what is that?
Here's worth of taxes.
The cost of an appeal to the land tribunal is borne by the taxes of everyone in the city. And so I'm raising it as a point.
They're all paid by everybody in the city.
You don't vote to by everybody in the city. You're supposed to do what we do. That's what democracy is. Hey,
Are you okay? I just want to raise it as a point, that the land tribunal can cost, an extreme amount of money. And then the decision gets made, against what city council decides anyway. So, I just want you to understand that, the decision that council makes has many factors, not just, what we're hearing from your voices today, which we are hearing, but there are financial considerations, there are legal considerations, precedent considerations. And so I want to mention that so that you're aware that this is more than just planning considerations for
How
us.
about our property values when they go down? You guys take that into account?
If you'd like to address council.
Yeah,
you can step
please come up to the
microphone.
microphone. I know you, sir, you're one of the gentlemen have not come up to the microphone, so you can certainly do that now. Introduce yourself and talk. Either one of you two. We'll start
I'm
with this
PJ Gale and I
gentleman
live
here.
at 260 Russell Street. I just want to point out, so the picture that you were viewing, you see there's a tree line there? It really doesn't depict what's going on. My garage is on the property line as well as the house. Like, you see trees, you don't realize that garage goes all the way to the green property line. It doesn't show it. I brought that up to you. I sent you an email, and I'm pretty sure that's older than 2008 because I've had a pool longer than that. So the pool's not in the picture. And pardon? I'm looking at the one here. There's no pool in the picture. Anyways, I just wanted to point that out. 260 Russell Street. I think I did say that. I just said it really fast, didn't I?
If there's a response to that, Mr. Burke, you can come up and speak to it.
I'll take accountability for the satellite shot. So when we're trying to work with the properties and doing these slides or the visuals, I mean, essentially they're representations. But one of the issues that we have is that in different parts of town, the satellite shots from different years. So like we have like 2020, we've got 2015, et cetera, et cetera. I think that's 2015. I could be wrong. But the satellite angles in different parts of town kind of go off. They make the property lines look up to about 4 feet from where they are. So we try to pick the year that is the most representative of where the stuff lines up with the property line. So there is some nuances there. But I can tell you that's why I used that year, was because that satellite view lined up the closest to the property lines versus the others. If you want to go on to the Oxford Glimmer site, that's open to the public. You can check and you'll see if you toggle through the different years, it'll line up completely differently on the property lines. Okay, I hope that helps. That wasn't Justin's fault. I chose that one to be the closest that I could find that was on the property lines. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
The Glimmer site is easy to attain. It's simple to pick off the County of Oxford website. It's easy to find, so. Well, County of Oxford, it's on their planning website under maps. You can come up and speak if you haven't spoken yet. We do need your name and address.
It's Darlene Barber. I'm at 259 Russell Street, so across and just up the street a little bit. First of all, thank you for everything that you guys have done and said. We are here supporting all of our neighbors and our own property and our own interest also. So I'm not going to repeat everything that you've said. My husband Pete and I moved to Russell Street specifically because it was zoned R1. Our lot, we take a lot of pride in it, as our neighbors do. We have family gatherings and we are in a quiet neighborhood. There's a little dog across the street. He never crosses the street, but he always comes out to let us know he's there. It is a very family, quiet neighborhood. I've heard a lot of comments about new subdivisions. This is what new subdivisions, we're not a new subdivision. We don't want to be in a new subdivision, or we would move to one, because we want to be on Russell Street. The little old buildings that are there are our homes. They may not mean a lot to everybody else, but they mean a heck of a lot to us. We don't want a new build. We moved to an R1 zoning and they want to go all the way to an R3 zoning, which is going to again crowd the streets. I'm not going to keep repeating myself. I know it's going to cost money if you have to go to tribunal. And I understand that. I pay a lot of taxes, as most people do. I also know that if we don't fight this, our property value will go down. And that is going to cost all of us, again, even though we've been paying taxes, it's going to cost us on top of that, should we ever want to sell our house. And I promise you, I will never sell my house to anybody who is going to do this.
Anyone from council have any questions for anyone that's spoken here in the last, amongst the last 4 or 5 speakers? Anybody else would you like to come up and speak against this proposal? You can come forward.
Hello, I'm Kat Soltis. I'm a resident of 261 Russell Street. I'm writing formally to express my opposition to the proposed rezoning of 264 Russell Street from Type 1 to Type 3 zone in our neighborhood. As a longstanding citizen of this community, I value the character, scale, and historical continuity of our area, which has been developed with predominantly single-family homes under the current Type 1 zoning. The proposed rezoning to Type 3, which would allow for a higher density residential development, represents a significant shift that could negatively impact the unique charm and livability of our neighborhood. Rezoning to Type 3 may increase housing density beyond what the infrastructure and streets were designed to support, such as limited parking, added traffic, and incompatibility with existing neighborhood character. Rezoning may encourage further speculative development, eroding the historical and aesthetic value of our neighborhood. We fear a domino effect, where one rezoning approval leads to many others, resulting in a gradual dismantling of the neighborhood's unique character and heritage. While I understand the need for housing growth and modernization, I urge you to consider more suitable areas already zoned for higher density development. Our neighborhood should be preserved as a stable, low-density residential zone that continues to offer the kind of livable, peaceful environment that attracted many of us here in the first place. I respectfully request that you did not deny the rezoning request and the proposal construction. Thank you.
Sure, come on up
PJ
again.
Galen, 260 Russell. Both Mark and the developer Troy told both my wife and I that there's nothing we can do about this. This is why we're here. We're here to ask you to do something about this. I fail to see how $645,000 townhomes is addressing any housing crisis at all. I mean, we can all look on MLS and you will get a lot more for a lot less. So this is not helping anybody in the city of Woodstock. And as far as what you're saying about the tribunal, we all pay a lot of taxes. I mean, if that's what it comes to, that's what it comes to. We elect you to do things for us. That's democracy. So in democracy, you do what the people who elected you ask of you. And if that's what happens, that's what happens. Thank you.
One quick question. Darlene's husband, 259, nobody's feet. What stops, geez, I'm short. What stops every house in the neighborhood to be going to R3? What happens if we want to sell ours and make it an R3? And then the house next to it and the house next to it. Where does it stop? Just a question. Anybody?
Could I enhance your question with a question to the planner by saying, at what point on the, so this street is about, the houses all in this row are about 1.5 acres. At what point does the R3 tip to high density and would no longer, or medium density no longer be allowed, high density and no longer be allowed?
So through the chair, this is still considered low density, just based on the units per hectare and the development type. So the official plan sets units per hectare as a density, and it also sets development types as density. So up to 30 units per hectare is considered low density. Yeah, so there's a little bit of flexibility in this. So this actually works out to 31 point something. It's not enough to tip them to require them an official plan amendment to medium density because it's a part of a unit that puts it over.
Does that math answer your question?
Absolutely not.
It-
Actually,
it would
I kinda
take,
tuned it out a bit.
it would take at least 6
Not gonna lie.
properties in a row to all go to
So
the
6
3
houses in a row?
triplexes to tip to the point of
Okay, so
exceeding the
this
density
is,
limit.
layman's terms here. Could I sell my house or get a buddy of mine that's a builder and turn that into a triplex if the lot is exact same as across the road?
Through the chair, that's something that if your lot is the same size as
Yep.
that, that's something that staff would support. 3 units is the cap based on units per
Right,
hectare.
yep.
Yeah.
So what happens, so I could do it, they could do it, they got the corner lot up there, probably put an apartment building in there. Where does it stop? That's what we're saying. If we don't fight now with the tribunal, it's gonna keep going. It's like agreements with a union. I'm not a union worker, but I was. Grievance procedures are very good things to have. And yes, it costs a lot of money for a company and a union to go to arbitration. And that's what we're asking you guys to do. Spend our hard-earned tax dollars and take it to arbitration. If we lose, we lose. But at least you guys did your job, what we're asking you to. And sorry it comes out of everybody's pocket in the whole city, but I'll tell you, if they were doing this 2 blocks away, and yeah, I wasn't at the meeting or down where your area is, I support it. Take some of my tax dollars and let's fight it. Because this is gonna start snowballing. And like my wife said, we moved from Paris, born and raised in Paris. God bless the little town. And I moved, it wasn't a little town anymore because everybody just kept building and building and everybody knows about Paris now. So we moved here. So for you to say it costs a lot of money and it comes out of everybody's pocket, it's the word I'm looking for. It's absolutely an asinine statement.
Just to be able to follow up a little bit on what Councillor Martin said, is the city of Woodstock would actually have to find a planner somewhere that's willing to defend the city of Woodstock's position if we voted against this on Thursday. And that might not even happen, just to sort of add
Yeah,
that to the.
why not?
Sort of.
If you're gonna pay them, why not? If you're gonna pay a planner to represent Woodstock, to go to a tribunal, help me out here. You can't find one anywhere? Like Calhoun and Brantford wouldn't help you, or somebody engineering department here?
Not in the engineering department, it would have to be a
Whoever, you know what I
planning
mean.
lawyer, but yeah.
Are
The-
you
the
saying that,
County of
are you
Oxford
telling us?
would tell us that it's their recommendation to go forward with this proposal, then we would have to find somebody that doesn't work for the County of Oxford to be able to defend the city of Woodstock's position.
Let's do it. Let's do it. I still don't understand, like, let's do it. Are you saying that Woodstock has never done this before?
We've done it several times. and
Then you
we've
must know
lost
planner.
Several times.
Then you must know who to get a hold
So,
of.
That's the wrong
That's what I'm
question to
saying.
ask.
If you've done it before, do it again. So you know who to reach out to. Again, I don't get that statement. If you've done it, you know who to get. Let's get him or her or them or they. Okay, I'm not gonna turn this into a stand-up comic routine, but let's push this as far as we can go.
Is there anybody else that has anything they'd like to say against this proposal? You can come back up one more time, sure.
Bill wants to change this from zone 1 to zone 3. The only reason he wants to put it in zone 3 so he can put this threeplex is because the only way he can make money is having 3 buildings there. Because I'm sure, I don't know what the property sold for. You know what the property sold for? What was it? Don't tell it. We don't know how much the property was sold for, so let's have it, let's say 450. Okay.
It is private information for sure.
I'll say 450. So the only way that Truebilt can make money off of this thing, he can't bulldoze that out and put a single family home because he ain't gonna make money on that. Even with a zone 2, if he puts a twoplex in there, well, he'd be on the edge of making any money. Threeplex, oh yeah, that can be done. So the whole thing comes down, zone 1 to zone 3. Hey, that's money, man. And that's why I think the only reason the Truebill has come in and got this property, because the owner of the property that was there wanted to get out of it. And apparently it wasn't on listing. I don't know what happened there, but it got sold. And I think he was taken over. And I think if it's true, if I heard a rumor, this is another rumor, it's a hearsay, that the owner of the property was offered 15 grand per unit if it sold for a threeplex. If it sells for a certain amount of money. That's what I heard. Just relaying my hearsay.
Okay, I guess we've exhausted this item number 2 on our agenda here tonight. Sure, you come out to the microphone again. You'll be the last person to speak on this.
Has the city of Woodstock ever fought against this type of situation and won?
No.
So why are we here? Why don't you just send us a message saying this is what's happening?
I think what could be happening is there could be a proposal that comes forward that maybe does have something in it that shouldn't be accepted. But we still have to go by the recommendation. We've had a lot of deferrals coming from the County of Oxford's Planning Department, and we've had a lot of things that they've actually said no to before that have been no's, and we've agreed to it and said no's. And we've had deferrals that we've never seen come back again
Mhm.
that were recommended from the County Planning Department to say no to.
Or it won't stop, it keeps no.
This will be discussed again, and as he said, you can apply by 12 noon tomorrow to be a delegation at the meeting on Thursday night, 7 PM is the city council meeting. That's when we will vote on item number 2B on this agenda. In fact, the agenda is already online if you wanted to look to see what the report says there. As we move forward to 2C on the agenda, ZN 8-25 08 and B 25 8, applications for zone change and severance for Tariq and Tariq Inayat. And the address is 355 Huron Street.
So ZN 8-2508 and B 25-34-8. In the proud tradition of not doing names very well, I'm gonna try it. Inayat, Tariq, and Tariq. The subject lands are described as Part Lot 1C, Plan 216, and are municipally known as 355 Huron Street. The purpose of the applications is to rezone the subject lands from residential zone 1, R1, to residential zone 2, R2, and to sever the subject lands into 2 lots to facilitate the construction of 2 single attached dwellings. The applicant proposes to sever an existing lot with a frontage of 18.28 meters into 2 separate lots with frontages of 9.14 meters each. Each lot is intended to be developed for single detached dwelling, and the applicant has identified an intention to build an additional residential unit in the basement of each unit. It's the opinion of staff that the subject applications are consistent with the PPS, as the proposed development proposed intensification and provides a mix of housing types to accommodate the current and future residents of the regional market area. The development is also considered to be an efficient use of lands, municipal services, and infrastructure within a designated settlement area. With respect to the relevant official plan policies for low-density residential areas, the staff are of the opinion that the proposal can be characterized as an appropriate street-oriented infill, characterized by a variety of lot sizes and built forms, including infill developments, townhouses, and single attached dwellings, and the proposed lots to be severed and the proposed lots to be retained will not be out of character or inconsistent with the surrounding area. Staff are of the opinion that the proposed lot configurations are reasonable and will provide an adequate building envelope for single attached dwellings on the lots to be severed and retained. Planning staff are satisfied the proposal is consistent with the policies of PPS and general intent and purpose of the official plan. As such, staff are of the opinion that the proposal can be given favorable consideration. Staff recommend approval of the application to rezone, and staff further recommend that the Woodstock Council advise the Land Division Committee that it supports severance application B 25-34-8, subject to the attached conditions.
Any questions for the planner from members of council? Seeing none, does anybody want to come forward to represent the owner of the property or the applicant? Please give us your name and your address.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Irtaz Zainat, and I'm the applicant of the property 355 Huron Street, Woodstock.
So you live at the subject property, just missed your address?
Oh, that's the address. I live in Kitchener. That's my.
Oh,
property.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's what you wanted, is where you currently reside, Kitchener, yes.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Is there anything you wanted to add from the report from Mr. Miller, our planner from the county?
Not for now. Thank you. Thank you.
Any member of council have any questions for the applicant? Is there anybody here that would like to speak in favor of this application? Anyone here would like to speak against the application, please come forward.
Good evening. Joanna Lemon, 356 Huron Street. My husband Kyle and I have lived at 356 Huron Street since June 1st, 2017. I'm originally a resident of Hamilton, so coming to Woodstock, that was a big change, but I instantly fell in love with Woodstock. And the changes I've seen to Huron Street since moving here are no different than Hamilton. Why did I leave Hamilton? I should have stayed there. For anyone that doesn't know, 356 Huron Street is directly across the street from 355. Our driveways butt up to each other essentially. So because of where I live, I feel my comments should be heavily considered before the decision is made. So since moving to Huron Street in June of 2017, there have been significant changes to the area. So there was the construction of 2 single detached dwellings known as 347 and 351 Huron Street, and the construction of 26 townhouse condos known as 343 Huron Street. These are all immediately beside 355 Huron Street. There was also the construction of 8 townhouses known as 684 Devonshire that runs right behind 355 Huron Street. Then there was the reconstruction of Huron Street from 4 lanes to 3 lanes, 1 lane in each direction, the third being a turning lane, and then there's also bike lanes in each direction. Huron Street is considered a significant thoroughfare in Woodstock that connects to other major roads, including Devonshire. The route of Devonshire and Huron Street is part of the designated transport truck route. The subject land, 355 Huron Street, is 98 meters from the intersection of Huron and Devonshire. The changes, the aforementioned changes and development to the area, to the 2 detached houses, the condos on Huron and Devonshire, are all in extreme close proximity to 355 Huron Street. Given the changes and developments over the years, the traffic congestion has increased exponentially. Approving the zone change and the development will only increase traffic and add to a growing issue for the area. Speed is also a great concern in the area. Approving the zone change and the development will significantly increase the risk of a serious or fatal collision at an already dangerous intersection for pedestrians, drivers, and cyclists. Accessing our driveway is increasingly more difficult. My husband and I, and most of our neighbors, prefer to back in our driveways because it's easier to pull out onto Huron Street rather than back up. However, because of the volume on Huron Street and close proximity to Devonshire, it's nearly impossible some days. Pulling into the driveway is hazardous because traffic rarely slows down. Most assume you're slowing and signaling to turn onto Devonshire. So you're nearly rear-ended, or the third party zips beside you impatiently. Even mowing the small patch of grass on the boulevard and shoveling the snow at the end of our driveway has become dangerous. The bike lane creates a small buffer between myself and vehicles, but speed is an issue and so is distracted driving. I've been nearly hit countless times while trying to maintain my lawn. And to be clear, I'm not putting myself in the roadway. I'm on the sidewalk or the driveway. Cars are swerving into the bike lane for whatever reason. I've almost been struck. You also need to consider the impact of the neighborhood character by approving the proposed applications. The development in the area over the recent years has drastically changed the character. What was once a quaint area is now overrun. As Councillor Ron Fraser said while voting against the development of 684 Devonshire, I don't want to be Toronto. He also said that the development for 684 Devonshire is too intense for the neighborhood. Yet it was approved and a few years later, in the same proximity, further development is being proposed. Approving the proposed applications will only continue to hinder the area. Although the proposed applications at hand are not as tense as 343 Huron Street or 684 Devonshire, by approving the proposed applications, you're adding to the overall intensification of the surrounding neighborhood. Oxford County posted a map of the development activity in the city of Woodstock to its website. The map was last dated July of 2024. According to that document, 8,279 residential units were recently developed, in progress, or had been approved, and so on. There's no shortage of residential units in Woodstock, either currently available or in development. There's also no shortage of vacant land that could be developed. As such, there's no real justification for the approval of the proposed applications. You also need to consider the precedent you would be setting if the proposed applications are approved. Approving the applications will only open the door for more applications in an already dense and intensifying area. Based on the foregoing, we respectfully protest these applications and ask that they be denied. I also have a letter from a neighbor that was signed, if I could read it. He couldn't make it here.
Sure. Do you have extra copies of the letter at all?
I
To
can
circulate?
give this to you
Okay.
if you want after. So it's from Gary Crane. He lives at 352 Huron Street. That's to my left. He's also immediately across the street from 355. He has lived at that address since 1959 and has seen all the changes. He says, my concerns are the same as my neighbors, Kyle and Joanna Lemon. I also feel the house density is too high for the neighborhood. Okay. And I have one more letter I can circulate. So on behalf of my neighbors, Margaret and Robert Figg, they've lived at 360 Huron Street since December of 1972. They've seen many changes and they think the addition of the 26 townhouses and the 2 detached dwellings on Huron Street have been the largest change, adding traffic along the roadside. They've also noted the change of Huron Street from 4 lanes to 3, with the center lane being a turning lane. But they note that the center lane is used really as a second lane. And they said that there seems to be plenty of land on County Road 17 and County Road 4, and they also asked that the application be denied.
I know they're not here, but what is this land on County Road 17 and County Road 4 for residential purposes?
It's,
There's none. Only because you're bringing it up, I'm asking you about where this land might be. Because if it's the north side of County Road 17, that's not in the city of Woodstock.
no, it's not developed yet, but the south side is 17. County Road 4 is like Highway 4. It runs from Bonds Corners
Yeah,
to Interkip.
and that's not residential. It's all commercial industrial. None of that'll ever be residential. There's a few existing houses there, but none of that space is residential.
Okay, I might be thinking of the wrong spot. Yeah, the golf course. Yeah, there's lots of land there. I just can't understand
Oh, and
why.
Township Road 17, that is under contract. Yeah, that's,
It's under development,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
but that's land that is available. I mean, all the lots aren't sold yet, I'm sure. I don't see why we have to grab up these small places and over occupy them. Like Joanna said, the traffic now on Huron Street, even with a small trailer like we have, a utility trailer, it's terrible some nights, some days to get into the driveway. I'm just concerned about the traffic, the added traffic it's gonna take. Thank you.
I'm just hypothesizing that maybe that's become worse because people have taken Ingersoll Ave to get to Huron Street, to get to Devonshire, to go to Sobeys Plaza because of the construction at Devonshire and Van Sittert. I'm just hypothesizing. Because you say there's more traffic there, but there's, I'm not gonna doubt that, but I'm just wondering what that would be like 2 years from now when, construction's certainly over on Devonshire.
It's never
Because
gonna be
Devonshire is
over.
gonna continue construction eastward.
It's never gonna be over, and just to get to the other side of the dam, it's terrible to get out there. It's where my relatives live. Thank you for listening.
Anybody else want to speak against the proposal for 355 Huron? I guess not. So I guess there's nothing's gonna be decided, as we mentioned, several times now already at tonight's meeting. It'll all be on the agenda at 7 PM on city council meeting on Thursday. If you'd like to be on the agenda on Thursday night, you have until 12 noon on Tuesday to become a authorized delegation to speak then. I'll ask for adjournment. Counselor Leatherborough, second by Counselor Lauder. All those in favor? Thanks, we're adjourned.